Well, hey guys, and welcome to another tactical review live stream. I see we've got a few people in the chat. Well, I see we've got a couple people watching. Nobody's said anything in chat yet. So we'll give a couple minutes to let people get logged on. And I'm going to have some water tonight. I'm a little under the weather, so bear with me if you would. And happily, there haven't been any of the major blow-ups in the last, well, not quite week that we've had in previous weeks. Here for about the last month, every week there's been more craziness in Florida and New York and Virginia. The ATF doing stupid stuff, and I mean, you know, I'm sure all that's still out there in the wings, but there haven't been any real active constitutional type issues that I've seen come across my radar. The politicians seem to be taking the holidays off from making crazy comments and stuff, with one exception, and it's actually pertinent to tonight's only major subject, and we will get to that. See Duval Farms on. I'm guessing that's Petey. How you doing, Petey? And yeah, so anyway, I had kind of an interesting few days working on getting the rest of the flashlight stuff, trying to get the rest of the flashlight stuff buttoned up. And oh, and Happy New Year to you too, Pete. I guess that's what I should have started with. Happy New Year. It is 2019. I saw that last night when I was out in kind of no man's land for cell phone reception. I saw that 2AEDU did a New Year's Eve live stream. I'm sorry I missed that. And hopefully he doesn't use that to supplant his normal Friday stream. And hopefully 2A gets in here. Anyway, so working on getting flashlight stuff buttoned up. And this little i3T amazed me. And, you know, we're going to leave some mystique to that for the EDC light video. But yeah, it actually caused me some problems because of how long it ran. Instead of trying to swap out memory cards in my camera, which is what I was doing previously, I used the web camera and OBS Studio and was recording straight to my hard drive. And that dumb little light ran so long that it filled up my hard drive. And well, the problem is I was recording to MP4, and MP4 files don't like not being written out, like finalized correctly. And by don't like, I mean they won't work without that last little bit of data. So I can get into some real IT geek discussion on that, things I had to learn yesterday. Thankfully, I was able to recover that video file. And Tactical Review has a new 3 terabyte hard drive on the way, because believe it or not, you can generate some serious amounts of footage trying to run a firearms channel, actually a YouTube channel of any kind, I'm sure. So anyway, thank you to Patreon supporters. You guys helped with that hard drive. Yeah, so anyway, fun stuff. And did you guys, I'm going to say you guys all, I don't have a lot in here yet, but did you guys watch the Brownell slide assembly video? If you did, you'll remember that I could not find my striker channel, or yeah, channel liner installation tool. And yesterday I look up on my desk here at the office, and I saw it looked like a taper candle wrapped in wax paper. Guess what I found? So I think that the only obvious answer is that I need to do another Glock slide, right? I mean, that's how that works. You find the tool you couldn't find, and then you'd build another one just to use the tool, right? I've heard of crazier things. I've heard of AR-15s coming about because somebody found an extra pin detent. So yeah. Well, anyway, I'm going to get into the main content of tonight's video, and that is the White Settlement, Texas church shooting from this past Sunday. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look into that much at all. Basically, a fella came in and had been giving the ushers some problems, had been, I guess, a little bit disruptive. All of that takes place before the videos that I've seen pick up. But the fella gets into the face of an usher, pulls out a little, it looks to be like a Mossberg Shockwave 12 gauge pistol, and proceeds to, well, he did kill one usher, and before another fella took him down with a headshot from something in the neighborhood of 15 to 18 yards. It was an incredible shot. That fella is a hero, no question about it. He refutes the title hero, which is exactly what a hero would say. So anyway, I did see, just before I got on the stream tonight, I was looking around on Instagram, and I follow Colion Noir. I probably just butchered his name, but I follow him on Insta. And evidently Mr. Bloomberg has taken an opportunity to point out how this just proves that only police should have guns. I'm trying to figure out how a legally armed civilian stopping an armed threat is proof positive that only cops should have guns. I don't know, because this is the story that never happens of a good guy with a gun stopping a bad guy with a gun. Anyway, I actually, though, want to take just a moment here, excuse me, while I'm trying to drive the computer while paying attention to things. And alright, I'm going to put up just a very short segment from the video from that church service, and the video quality overall was very good, but we're going to start out, we're zoomed in up at the top of the frame where all of the action actually occurred, and so it's a little grainier than what the initial footage would have been. And alright, stuff's not working right, because of course it's not working right. Alright. There we go. So, I'm going to put this up on screen, and the fellow that you see circled up on your screen is the guy who we're going to be paying attention to here. So, you see that he gets up, and again, this is after he's been disruptive in the service, and he walks over here to this usher, and he gets in this usher's face. Now, the video that I had access to did have audio, but you couldn't hear what was going on up where this was occurring. So I have no idea what words were exchanged here, but it definitely looks very confrontational. So it goes on, and then here, right here, he reaches under his coat and pulls out that little shotgun. Now, this is where that usher right there, guys, this is where, as self-defenders, we need to have some empty-handed skills. I don't know exactly how far apart they are there, but I would guess, trying to use that fella's shoulders as a scale, I'm going to guess that they're only something in the neighborhood of 3 feet apart, so probably an arm's length apart, give or take, a long arm's reach between the usher's left hand and the end of that firearm. So this is where, guys, we've got to do more than, as personal defenders, we've got to do more than just simply have a gun. We need to be training with our firearm, absolutely. And I'm not one to say what I'm getting ready to say lightly, but in this case, I would like to think that the ideal situation, and it's always easy to be an armchair quarterback, I get that, but I think that the right answer there would have been for that fella to drop the Bible in his left hand. And I don't say that because I want to disrespect the Word of God. I just think that that would have been the right answer. And reach out and knock that firearm to his left, and it would have opened up a line to get in there with a fist or something. Anyway, but we're getting ready to keep this, keep the video rolling, and the guy I want us to pay attention to is the usher now who's sitting down there, and I've got him circled in red. So keep an eye on him as we start rolling this film again. So he stands up, and you see him reach there into around his 5 or 6 o'clock. So pretty obviously to me, that fellow was carrying concealed and a small of the back configuration. And then we're going to keep this, we're going to let this go on, and you see there he dug around for about 2 seconds, and then that's the end of the clip that I have, because unfortunately right after where we've just paused, that's where the gunman actually did unfortunately kill that usher who was standing up. And I think that that usher standing up and reaching for his gun, he made the ultimate sacrifice, and he could have saved his own life if he would have been able to get that draw off. But there's no question in my mind that he saved lives because he was a distraction. But one thing I want to say there, and again, I hate to sound like I'm speaking ill of the dead. Honestly, if I have to leave this world in an act of violence, I would like it to be able to be said that my sacrifice saved lives. And that's just, ideally, I would like to have a long and peaceful life, and you know, go peacefully in the night or something. But if that's not my lot, I would like it to be able to be said that, well, this guy's sacrifice saved lives. But small of the back carry, I just, once upon a time, I thought that maybe it was a good idea. But the more I look into it, I can't help but think that maybe in a traditional 3 o'clock position, or an appendix carry, or even a shoulder holster, that fellow might have been able to get that draw off. It's just food for thought. Again, we haven't had a lot of really crazy situations for us to talk about this week, which to me is a good thing. We do have a new legislative session, though, starting very soon, and I'm sure we're going to have all kinds of things to talk about. But anyhow, just to go back to the small of the back carry, on top of, in this case that we just looked at, it was not in a position to be a quick enough draw to be effective, but secondarily, when you draw from the small of your back, you've either, if you're going to draw with a palm out, where you have to reach between your back and the firearm to draw it, when you draw, you're going to flag yourself with that muzzle. If you carry with the butt towards your weak side, where you will then reach with an open palm against your back, when you draw that, you're going to come around and flag people to your strong side. So the more I learn about human performance and things, I don't personally think small of the back carry is a good idea. My 2 cents, and it's worth every bit of what you paid for it. So keep that in mind. Boy, chat section is just quiet tonight. You guys got anything? Everybody's just still all partied out from your New Year's parties last night, huh? Oh, hey, Beretta Man. Glad you could join us. Did you just get here, Beretta Man? And I appreciate the thumbs up. I just saw this. I've had a thumbs up on the video. Thumbs up helps the algorithm. And double check that your notification bell was rang. I'm still having people who are getting randomly unsubscribed, and folks whose notifications are turning off. So anyhow, so Beretta Man, we were talking about the White Settlement, Texas situation, and I was talking specifically about small of the back carry. What do you think of it? And again, I will in no way minimize. Now I can't remember the fellow's name. He's all over Facebook and whatnot right now. Jack something, I think. I'll get it. I'm quick. I say that, and of course I can't find it now. Yeah, Jack Wilson. That's what it is. So Jack Wilson, absolutely a hero on Sunday in that situation. Cool, level-headed. I haven't timed out his draw to first shot, but he only took one. He drew, and from 15 to 18 yards is about what it looks like on the camera. Just one headshot. So I guess be out of the range of shooting at bowling pins, guys. So that I've tried that. I've tried bowling pins from 17 yards, and I did hit it, but it took a lot of misses first They were near misses. They would have been fine in like an A zone. But yeah, those hitting that tee box from that kind of range, it's just, it was an incredible shot. So really impressed with that. Really sickened by Mr. Bloomberg once again saying that only police should have firearms. The fact of the matter is, I've talked with a lot of law enforcement officers. A lot of those guys get to the range once a year for qualifications, and that's it. And so a civilian who goes to the range and trains and sends thousands of rounds downrange a year is honestly probably, of course, you can't say that either. Because I have, in the last 6 months, I've probably gone through 1,500 rounds of 9mm through my handgun, and I couldn't make that shot. I feel confident in those ranges that the FBI says are standard self-defense engagement range. To hit a torso shot, I would in no way feel confident to stretch out and put legs on it like that and make a headshot at that range. So I don't know. You guys are just silent over in the chat tonight. That makes it a bad week to have not had a lot going on. I felt like, though, there was something else that I was going to bring up. Let's see. I know that EOTech rebate ended yesterday, and I think that the Sky rebate and the Taurus rebates ended yesterday. So if you bought any of those products, don't forget to send in your rebate stuff. I actually have my EOTech rebate paperwork here. Need to stick it in an envelope, and need to get that and letters to my legislative representatives in the mail. So and once again, legislative sessions starting back up here soon, so make sure that you are communicating with your representatives, state, federal, all of it. And also don't forget, maybe proactively trying to get a website here for you guys. A more organized streamer actually would have had this up and ready to go, but I kind of forgot. But I'll get this website for you guys. I think that's it. That's not it. Everything I wrote in. Oh man, Beretta man, I've had YouTube dump a long comment too, and if it had a website in it, it won't go up. So I'm sure you know that. But Ron Jackson, yeah, I'm glad he was carrying. That guy can carry at my church any day of the week. And I'm glad that the Texas governor made sure to have that legislation in place to protect that right. Joe Biden said that, you know, he was a warmonger and, you know, whatever, and one of those guys now looks like an actual public servant and the other one looks like a lunatic. So, you know, there's that. You know, any other time I would have been able to find this right away. I'm not going to give up, though. I typed that. Are you kidding me? So it's gunownersaction.org/SASO. Gun Owners Action. Gotta spell it right though. There we go. Coming into chat. Because I can do links for you guys. So, and that that page also has a map. So that's what you, that's stuff to help you approach your county law enforcement about setting up as a Second Amendment sanctuary. So something that I need to do for my county yet, and you know, talking to you guys about this helps keep me doing what I need to do, because it's real easy to just talk about it and then not do anything. And gun owners as a whole, we are famous for that, and then we want to complain because we lose our rights because we didn't do anything about it. All right, what am I missing here in the chat? So Dad was deacon in a Baptist church, always carried, church or not. Yeah, Bretta, man, I'll tell you, my personal story is that, okay, so I grew up in Indiana. I moved down to Tennessee for college, right, a year out of high school. Got moved back to Indiana and had well, you had the 22 that you see here in the background, and couple of and just my break action 410 shotgun that were guns that my dad had bought me growing up. Moved back down to Tennessee, to the Chattanooga area specifically, and so anyway, when I was living down there, I bought my Glock 23 and got my carry permit in Tennessee. And I carried a lot like now. I worked at a school, and so my daily commute was walk out of my back door to my car. In Tennessee, I had like a 40-minute commute on the interstate. So it was drive one block, get on the interstate, and then drive for about 40 minutes. And when I came to my destination, it was a gun-free zone. So Monday to Friday, I didn't carry because, you know, once I was in my car, I would have run over somebody. You know, it's a 2,000-pound blunt object. You know, anyhow, but I carried every Saturday and Sunday. And then we moved back up here to Indiana, where my wife and I's families are from, and I had some financial straits there, and at the time Indiana wasn't offering the free 4-year carry permits and the inexpensive lifetime. I mean, it was Indiana's lifetime permit has always been relatively affordable, but now it's a lot more affordable. Anyhow, so got things together financially, and I got my Indiana carry permit. But for a long time, I had the legal opportunity, but didn't take advantage of it. And then fast forward, and we had a fella who he had some mental things going on and had a history of violence, and he was off of his meds, and he had been coming to church. And I, not speaking ill of anybody who does have medical situations with mental imbalances and things, but he was definitely, he put me on edge. Right, wrong, or otherwise, that may be very bigoted of me. But after one Sunday where he had to be escorted out by ushers, he wasn't actually ever violent to anybody in the church. He was just being very loud, very disruptive. And I've carried every Sunday since then. So, yeah. And I'm very thankful that I'm in a state where, they don't try to limit that. I know at the time when I lived in Tennessee, in the state of Georgia, as 2A friendly as they tend to be, there in Georgia it was illegal to carry into a house of worship. So, and I know that there's a lot of people who think that, they morally don't agree with that. The Orthodox churches, I think, have some qualms about weapons in the sanctuary. So, and that's a personal choice. It's always a personal choice. It should always be a personal choice. It should not ever be a legal choice. So, and I know that we're all in agreement on that I would not want to conscript anybody. It's kind of the whole, let's arm teachers. Well, no, that to me has an attitude of conscription. It's, let's just let people choose to or not to practice their Second Amendment. That's the end of it. Because just like me choosing for quite a while to not carry when I went to church, that was my choice. It wasn't a congregation telling me I couldn't. It wasn't the law telling me I couldn't. And I'm very thankful that nothing happened, because the fact of the matter is if anything ever happened and I wasn't carrying, I would live the rest of my life wondering, could I have been the difference maker? I don't know. And again, I know that a lot of us feel very much the same way from conversations that we've had in the chats here, conversations that many of us have had in chats on 2A EDU's channel. I know that we're all kind of in agreement on that. And so, and I know the last time I vacationed up in Michigan, it required a letter of approval from the clergy to carry it at a place of worship. So I don't know if that's still the case or not. And I know that Michigan has some strong anti-2A stuff in this legislative session. So yeah, definitely Michigan folks. Bredeman, you're Pennsylvania, aren't you? I mean, we just got to stay on our toes, because the folks in power have decided that they are our leaders, not our representatives. We've talked about this. We're going to continue talking about this until the plug is pulled on my channel. We have to stay on our toes, because they absolutely all believe that, well, yeah, all the animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. and they think that they are those animals who are more equal. So it's our job as the governed to be active. So anyhow, well, wow, we've actually already gotten a half hour on this stream. So, and you're very welcome for that Gun Owners of America link. It's something that I've been meaning to share actually for the last 3 or 4 live streams, and I just have forgotten every week. And so with this stream being a little bit slower, it's actually helped catch up on a couple of things. And I'm sure that after I sign off, as soon as my outro rolls, I'm gonna say, oh, I meant to do that. So anyway, actually, speaking of, and while we're doing this, let me pull up and get you guys, just in case you have misplaced it, I'll get you guys that link again to the form letters for reaching out to your representatives over this bump stock garbage. Got to sign into that Gmail account, so just hold one. That's not even my main email account for the channel, so see, if I was smart, I would have created a bit.ly link for this. That will probably happen yet. Ah, Beretta, man, it's not stooge. We've all got a lot on our plates. Let's face it, we as a people are busier now than we have ever been. So, yeah, it just flows that things are going to fall through the cracks. So that's part of the reason that, in spite of everything, I still try to support and watch other gun tube channels, even ones that have made some false steps here recently. I've made comments and called them out on it because, you know, it's just the same. If I give a piece of incorrect information, I absolutely accept you guys being in my comment section and telling me what's up. If I'm sure that I'm right and I have sources to back that up, I'm going to let you know that. If I'm incorrect, I will absolutely do a retraction, up to and including a retraction video. I know enough to know that I don't know much. So anyway, and speaking of which, I follow Iraq Veteran 8888 on Instagram, and so in his Gun Gripes 218, he talks about, Eric and Chad both, they talk about that Virginia bill that would fire public officials for refusing to enforce unconstitutional laws, and evidently, and all they did was read the bill. And somebody, one of the House representatives, I think, get sponsors and brag. Oh, yeah, I wish I had sponsors. Who has sponsors? But anyway, he was saying that one of the representatives on one of the Virginia representatives said that he's gotten assassination threats because of misinformation that Eric and Chad put out over that bill, and all they did was read it. And I'm like, if that's misinformation, but see, that's indicative of the way the whole system is going. It's not a matter of, oh, maybe I'm wrong, let's reevaluate this. It's, I'm going to dig my heels in, and I can't be wrong, you're threatening me. Anyhow, so, yeah. And that's exactly why I think I've mentioned it before. I still maintain at least online friendships with people who are very diametrically opposed to a lot of my viewpoints. Religious, political. I mean, part of growth is always stopping and reevaluating. I'm a track and field and cross country coach, and then in my off season here in the winter season, I do some strength and conditioning work, and a lot of it's just to keep myself active. I grew up I was very inactive. Have a lot of regrets about that, and so I try to live a healthier lifestyle now, and so I find that engaging with the athletes puts me in a position where they kind of keep me on my toes and keep me active. And you know, part of physical growth, physical improvement, it's the same thing with emotional and spiritual, and all of that. It's a matter of evaluation. And if we're just going to stick our heads in echo chambers, you don't have anything else to compare against. I'm not saying that all ideas are equal, but I'm saying everybody has a right to have their ideas. So oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know, and I'm honestly, Beretta, man, I'm it's one of those things, talking about sponsors. As awesome as it would be to have a sponsorship of some sort, I would feel like, I'd feel like I was obligated to be favorable to that particular whatever. So I really respect the way that Tim on Military Arms Channel went about that when he this has been several years ago. I was watching it in his back videos, but when he went to fully viewer supported on Patreon, where he asked his viewers, do you want me to seek out sponsorships, or do you want me? And he respected his viewers' wishes, and so he's fully viewer supported, with the exception that federal sponsors his ammo. And I would not hesitate to take an ammo sponsorship, because the only time that might skew anything is if I was doing actual ammo reviews. And that's about the closest to an ammo sponsorship at my size that I've been able to get any kind of nibbles on, is ammo companies willing to give me free ammo for reviews, and then ammo at cost. And I would even take that, but I got ghosted. Yeah, hazards of being a little guy. So yes, I do need to do my own ammo. It's a matter of time and space to set up. I'm pretty cramped in here just doing what I do, as you can kind of see behind me. My home office is fairly generous for a home office, for somebody who's not self-employed, but the flip side is I know I don't have a ton of room, and I certainly don't have a ton of time. As a matter of fact, I was talking to my wife today about wanting to find time and get to a training class, see about getting to a point where I could hit the ground unassisted by gravity. And she's like, when are you going to do that? So the answer is hopefully this summer. And that's an important thing. You know, I don't know if you guys watch Grand Thumb, but he always talks about how you have to be training, and you know, he's got guys that he always recommends, and you can take all that for what it's worth. But the concept is absolutely true, and it goes back to what we're talking about tonight, is making sure, especially as an armed civilian, that your skill set is exactly on point. Because, you know, well, right here, I can do this. This isn't a gun. So, you know, this is your holdy thingy, and this is your bang button. And this right here, you know, we can call it a freedom seed. We can call it a pew. But the fact of the matter is that there's a receipt attached to that. Then it's invisible to the naked eye. But every lawyer on the planet can see the receipt attached to that. So that's something we've always got to keep in mind. And you know, you've always got to, and that's where it's important to, excuse me, it's important to be putting in the research and know why you're carrying what you're carrying and how it's going to perform. And you know, there's a list a mile long, because the potential for liability is enormous. The potential for the penalty for being wrong is yeah. And the thing is a jury acquittal for a wrongful death wouldn't matter at all. Because the fact of the matter is that I still have to look in the mirror when I shave. I still have to see my ugly mug up here on the screen if I'm going to live stream with you guys, and if I'm going to be doing these videos. And I don't think that I could look at myself in the mirror if, in an attempt to do something good, I did something horrible. So, you know, well, another YouTuber that I follow is Fit and Fire, and there was he posted a screenshot of somebody's comment, you know, talking about, I can't even do it justice, and I'm not going to look it up, but the gist of it was, just get a shotgun. And you know, and that's fine depending on your situation. If you live in a 2-bedroom apartment and you have children and you've got a shotgun with 3-inch Magnum shells loaded with double-aught buckshot, you're probably an idiot. That buckshot's going to just keep going. But the fact of the matter is that once upon a time, I thought maybe birdshot was a good idea. I wholeheartly do not now. I've done research, you know, and that's not. I've always carried 9mm, well, 9mm or 40 caliber for personal defense, but doing my research, that's why now my house gun is actually a 30 caliber AR-15. And that sounds like so much overkill, and that sounds like a bullet that's going to keep going and going and going and going. And when you do your research, you find out, no, that's less likely to overpenetrate than this Spear Gold Dot. Depending on what a person's wearing and so many other factors. Anyhow, so, well, guys, and yeah, and Beretta, man, there would be no shame in having to stop a bad guy with lethal force. None. I'm talking about if I hit an innocent, and no amount of acquittal by a jury of my peers would acquit me of my moral feelings of reprehension in that instance. Again, I am not now, and in no way have I ever been a person who says that people are just animals. But some people allow themselves to be animals. And if a rabid dog came after somebody I loved, I wouldn't hesitate. And if a two-legged predator comes after somebody I love, and when I say somebody I love, well, they'll know we are Christians by our love. All right, I'm talking about that love for my fellow man, for the students who attend the school where I work, for everybody who attends the church where I attend, for my fellow shoppers if I'm at a Walmart and some idiot comes in. I don't want anybody to misunderstand that I'm saying I would be ashamed to defend myself. Anybody who says you should be, and if that's something that you're concerned about, then maybe you don't have that mental strength to, that emotional strength is what I meant to say, to be a personal defender. And that's okay. It's not for everybody. It's like we've talked before about law enforcement. And, legally, police officers, it has been determined by the courts that legally they have no responsibility to put their lives on the line to protect anybody. But I strongly feel that they have a moral responsibility to do so, if not illegal. And if there's somebody who can't accept that moral responsibility, that's perfectly fine. It's not for everybody, but in my opinion, that means that they should not be a law enforcement officer. And I've actually had this conversation with local law enforcement officers, and they wholeheartedly agreed with that assessment. So anyway, well guys, let's go ahead and start wrapping this up. I'm keeping an eye on the chat. If something comes up that you guys are wanting to talk about, then by all means throw it in there. I would honestly like to put a card up at this point, and YouTube is not going to let me, so I will instead go through my YouTube notifications. This is one other thing that I should have had ready to go. But again, I did not have the full video of the White Settlement incident, just because it is pretty intense and not what I wanted to share here on the channel tonight. What I am going to do though is I'm going to paste a link into the chat. This is Active Self-Protection's breakdown of that situation. I think that I said a couple of things that John said in that video. He does have the full video. It does have a graphic content warning. It does show the shots. There's no blood on screen because of the distance at which everything occurred from the camera, but I will tell you, you do see two people fall. They both did take the room temperature challenge, so one of them being the bad guy. So I want you to know that that's what you're getting into. If you click that link, John does put some disclaimers in there before the video rolls, and I really recommend following Active Self-Protection. John is an evidence-based instructor, and even if you're not able to get to his classes, just following him on YouTube and watching his videos really has a lot of good stuff about human performance, and he goes over looking at pre-attack indicators and body language and just all sorts of stuff that we self-protect, or we personal defenders, things that we need to know on the day-to-day. So guys, I appreciate you sticking with me. I think that most of you guys are following me on social media, But if you're not, there you go. Still just for right now, Instagram and Facebook. And so that's Tactical Review 2019. And I do apologize. I've seen after the fact that I don't always see direct message notifications on Instagram. So if I have left you hanging in the past, super sorry. I'm trying to pay better attention to that because, again, I've missed a couple of messages there. And then a lot of the Facebook stuff is just the reposts from Instagram, but I do occasionally share things unique on Facebook. So if you've got a Facebook account, you might consider following the channel over there. And then I have had some of you guys pick us up and help out on Patreon. I really appreciate that. Once again, Patreon supporters, you guys have helped offset the cost of a much needed hard drive. I already have 1/3 of a terabyte just of tactical review stuff, and I'm not even quite to my 1-year mark yet, so that's only going to keep growing. So guys, stay tuned. Once again, in the next couple weeks, I've got a couple more flashlight videos. We're going to do an EDC pocket light style video, and then we're going to have a video on a couple of long gun flashlights, and then I'm going to try being the operative word, I'm going to try to get a Streamlight TLR, I think it's the TLR1, that's very similar form factor to the Valkyrie PL Pro that I had on last week's video. Put those head to head. And I will say, once again, that spend money on anything that's going to come between you and the ground. So make sure that if you're on your feet all day, you need quality shoes, and you've already figured that out. Quality suspension and tires on your vehicles. You know, if we're talking about a personal defense weapon, make sure that you're investing in quality. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to spend the most money that is possible to spend, but it does maybe mean that you might need to spend time in research. Case in point, the O-lights that I'm looking at. I have been talking to, I'm in a couple of communities in firearms instructors. So while I frequently say that the stuff that I bring you is based on a sample size of 1, and that is absolutely a fact, these guys who are instructors, their sample size tends to be hundreds and thousands of weapons and weapons configurations and brands and flashlights and this and that and the other thing, and tens and hundreds of thousands of rounds fired through them. So these are the guys that I count on when I am looking for information. And I was asking specifically about O-light because I've been reviewing O-light stuff, or I say reviewing, it's more of just some head-to-head comparison. I haven't had any of these enough time really to call it a review, with the possible exception of my little i3T. And the response that I've gotten is quality assurance is not necessarily maybe where it should be on O-light. And specifically, one of the instructors that I talked to said it seems like possibly the electronic protection, because obviously there's a lot of electronics down in these guys, and obviously firearms recoil is not kind to your flashlights. And he's seen a lot, like high double-digit percentages of O-lights fail in his courses. And almost all of his courses have at least one night shoot portion, and he's got some dedicated night shoot classes. And he sees a lot of O-lights failing because the electronics die under recoil. So good information to have if you're looking at picking up a weapon light. And you know, things that I'm going to continue to bring to you, because I want to be open and honest. If I make a mistake, I'll let you know I made a mistake. Matter of fact, I'm coming up here in May. May is Stop the Bleed month. If you weren't following the channel when I got started last May, I will definitely make sure to talk about that here in a few months. And one of the things that I talked about was in EDC, I talked about just using your cell phone as a flashlight. Well, when I talk about pocket flashlights, I'm going to update my opinion on that, because I'm human. I make mistakes. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Looks like the chat's pretty well stayed quiet. I hope you guys all had an awesome New Year's Eve and are having an awesome New Year's Day. I hope that everything goes great for you. I am not looking forward to the morning. Like I said, I'm congested. You can probably hear that. And I've been fortunate to have the last week off, so tomorrow I've got to remember how getting up and going to work works. So anyhow, and oh, brownies for my fat. Hey, I didn't see you active in the chat. Thanks for joining tonight, brother or sister, I guess. My demographics say that like 100% of my viewers are male, but I don't make any assumption. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining, and can't wait to see you next time. I think I'll probably talk to a bunch of you guys in the chat on Friday at 2 a.m. and stay tuned early next week for the next video. Until next time, shoot straight, stay safe.